Welcome back to Liberty Nation TV. I'm your host, Scott Cosenza, and with me today is Mark Angelides, our managing editor at LibertyNation.com. Thank you for joining us, Mark.
My pleasure, Scott.
You have a contrarian view, shocker there, from the conventional sort of wisdom, which I think the very latest of which is that we won't see a high bounce or quick recovery economically coming out of the COVID-19 restrictions to the extent that we ever come out of them. But you're saying that we may, and so always good to hear a dose of optimism. What gives you such optimism, Mark?
Well, Scott, what gives me the optimism is actual professional economists. And what's happened is, just to give you the United Kingdom, for an example, which is undergoing a very similar situation to the US right now, based on 3 months of lockdown plus another 3 months of various stages coming back to life, as it were. The Office of Budgetary Responsibility, the OBR in the UK, has predicted that the UK will suffer around about a 35% drop in GDP, real GDP for the second quarter, but that it will bounce back very, very quickly, possibly even to the point of a 17% across the board increase in the overall economy, not GDP, of course. So what's happening here is people are looking at the economic situation and understanding that once we all get back to normal, should we ever do, the structures that are still in place are still there. The businesses, many of them, even though a lot of people are struggling, especially small business owners at the moment, their buildings are still there. Their fittings are still in those businesses. Their stock's still there. And once people get back out and spending again, this is going to drag the economy straight back up.
Well, we've got 26 or so, I think, last count, million unemployed Americans, Mark. What about that? Is that they're just going to get their jobs back right away?
Well, not all of them, certainly. But of course, according to the OBR report again, it says that unemployment will come back to where it should be, but a little bit slower than the economy. However, with steps that, like, for example, President Trump's doing by limiting new green card holders for a couple of months, that makes it a more competitive marketplace for the unemployed now. Those people many of those who are just furloughed will be going back to their jobs, of course. But many of those who are out of a job, they're going to be coming back into a much more competitive marketplace and actually might do better in the long term because of it.
The eating your vegetables sort of analysis, I guess.
Very much so.
Well, when will the Phoenix-like resurrection of the economy begin, in your estimation?
Well, we're seeing a lot of action from states in the US that are already talking about the phased opening, which ties in very much with President Trump's 3-phase opening plan, which so few people have actually looked at. It's, in my opinion, it's a very sensible document, and it's very difficult to find any fault with the idea of open, check, and not really going full bore until such point as the health industries can cope with any more sicknesses. But I suspect that we'll be seeing almost a complete opening with some social distancing still around late August. Everything will be open. There'll be no more holdout states by late August.
Mark, with a little more than 6 months left until the presidential election, what's the political angle here? Does that bounce back happen soon enough to make President Trump look good for re-election or not?
Well, as you know, it's the economy, stupid, not you. And so, of course, what President Trump's trying to do is trying to get the economy back up, at least on the rise before people start going to the polls, or doing their mail-ins, as may be the case coming up, unfortunately. But this presents a very interesting question. Would the Democrats purposely slow down the recovery because it gave them political advantage? And that's a question that everybody should be asking themselves as we go into this. Would they perhaps consider slowing down what could be a faster recovery, maybe putting the brakes on some economic stimulus that might help, if they thought it would keep the economic figures lower, which would give them a better chance come November? And that's a question we all have to think about individually, I think.
Okay, well, I'll just say I hope not, Mark. Thank you so much for your analysis. LibertyNation.com's managing editor, Mark Angelides. Thank you for watching. See you next time.